Welcome to the Amplifying Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Tara Lehman, a partner, coach, and consultant at Twin Life Coaching and Business Services, which is home to our Amplifying Leadership division. This podcast is your space to expand your leadership and your knowledge with meaningful stories from our guests, practical wisdom, and conversations that remind you you are not leading alone. To learn more about our leadership services and the Amplifying Leadership Circle community, please visit us anytime at amplifyingleadership.ca. Today, I am welcoming Jessper Maquindang, Teambuilding and Company Culture Consultant. Welcome to Amplifying Leadership.
Tara, good morning from Los Angeles. Very excited to join you today.
Yes, great to have you here. A great topic as well, but let's learn a little bit more about you first. Tell us a little bit about why leadership.
Absolutely. So I actually want to share a story, and it comes from a memory. And it's a memory I actually don't remember, but my mother did. And
okay.
It was a memory that my mother had shared a few years ago. And she told me, growing up, I was maybe 5 or 6, if I could guess. The age. And what she said is, based on that memory, I had pulled her aside, and I looked at her and I said, "Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a leader."
Oh,
And
really?
it's interesting because fast forward to today, when I think about it, how does a 5 or 6-year-old comprehend this concept of leadership? It's an advanced topic. I might as well have pulled my mother aside and said, "Mom, when I grow up, I want to study macroeconomics with deferred revenue." Such an advanced topic at that age. But I realized as I was growing up, just different leadership opportunities were falling into my lap. I was always encouraged to find ways to serve the community, volunteer for nonprofits. When I finally entered the corporate world, I was already managing people, learning what worked, but more importantly, what didn't work. And I guess that's where the greatest leadership lessons come from. And then I was just inspired by leading other people and the work I was doing. I went back to school for my executive master's degree in leadership and then learned more about that concept in the academic sense. And then after graduating, I had done a internship at a Fortune 500 company where I just gained more insight into the field of leadership and management. And then fast forward to today, what I'm doing is really supporting those business leaders with essentially improving and supercharging that people side of what they're trying to build. So it is that leadership development where we're learning those different work styles, learning our strengths, learning areas of improvement, because essentially when you put all that together, it is this path toward growth and finding ways to reach our potential, which really increases our effectiveness as people in the work we're doing. So when it comes to leadership, yes, it came from that memory, still trying to figure out where that concept came from as a 5-year-old, but fast forward to today, it's really gone full circle and really informing the work I do.
Well, and it's a great story to share too. That's a very interesting one, right? One day, maybe you'll figure it out where it originally came from, but that's an awesome story. Let's focus today on purpose-driven leadership and what that actually means, or, well, first of all, in case our audience isn't sure how you define that, define it for us first, just so they know what you mean by purpose-driven leadership.
Sure, great question. Actually, I want to introduce 2 concepts, and the first one is purpose-driven leadership and leadership-driven purpose.
Love it.
And
all right.
When it comes to purpose-driven leadership, it is that sense of finding that the work or the task or the responsibilities that really inspire us. For example, when it comes to leading, many managers are tempted to chase the sense of urgency. What's the latest and greatest? Let's go for it now. We don't have the patience. And really, that can lead to burnout and overwhelm and stress if we're just moving at 200 miles per hour. At the same time, when it comes to purpose-driven leadership, another distraction can be that sense of money and profit in and of itself. Now, to be clear, I mean, it's not money and profit aren't a bad thing. That's what keeps businesses, organizations, companies, that's what keeps them running. But if we're not attuned to our own values and just chasing money and profit just for its own sake, Again, that's another source that can lead to burnout, overwhelm, and stress. On the other hand,
Yeah.
when we are embracing that purpose, that why, that mission, that vision, that will inspire us to really get up in the morning, look forward to what the day brings, and really bring that sense of energy and inspiration into the work we do. So that is the
Mhm.
purpose-driven leadership side. And then on the other hand, the leadership-driven purpose. I would say when it comes to that why, another part of what builds that is leadership in and of itself. When I meet people just around the world, they tell me, Jesper, but I'm not a leader. And the reality is, we are all leaders. What
Mhm.
leadership is in general is we have a message to share with the world. And when
Mhm.
we share that message, that creates more impact for us and for others.
Mhm.
And it's really that sense of inspiration that you bring to others. So when it comes to leadership driven purpose, our why, leadership is part of who we are. So when we embrace purpose driven leadership and leadership driven purpose, that's when we can maximize our value as leaders in personal and professional growth.
And I love that you mentioned that why and that purpose because it's something I talk a lot about with my clients. If they're really feeling the overwhelm and the dread and they don't know where to go, and I'm like, well, why did you start your business in the first place? Or why are you in this position in the first place? You
That's
know,
right.
and there's so much in their message, right? There's just like your story is a message that comes from your basis of leadership. You know, people have a purpose. They know why they're there. They sometimes forget. And so I try to remind them of that. So I'm so happy you brought that up. Something else that you said I think is so important. And I love that you said it because I just say the same thing is the slow down because we can go way too fast and then no one can follow us because we're so far ahead or we're chasing shiny things, right? That maybe it doesn't make sense. Let's talk a little bit about how our vision can actually help us clarify not just our own purpose and message, but that for the organization or even our team if we have a team under us. What are your thoughts around that?
Absolutely. When it comes to purpose, many times having those values of essentially making a difference, that's really what can bring change. When
Mm-hmm.
we're building something, maybe a business, running an organization, company, or a team or group of some sort, there's the temptation to look at the task and just complete it, just to take stuff off our to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes there can be some tasks or responsibilities that can be uh, routine or not as exciting, but there are tasks that still need to be get done. However,
Mm-hmm.
when you connect different task responsibilities, roles to the bigger picture, let's say, for example, we're working for a travel company, and one of the tasks is to uh, book hotels. On its face, maybe booking hotels may not be very exciting, but when you connect it to the bigger picture, let's say for this travel company, uh, your all of this is really essentially helping travelers achieve their dreams of traveling
Mm-hmm.
around the world. And for that employee to book the hotels, again, might not be exciting on the onset, but when you connect it to the bigger picture, that employee is helping that client or customer achieve their dreams. So when you relay that type of message, connecting it to what it really means, an employee or a team member can really see the meaning behind the work they do. So really looking at the bigger picture, the bigger vision, promoting that with others so they can see the inspiration behind the work they do, regardless of how routine or how uh, I would say an everyday task
Mm-hmm.
feels. It really does make a difference when they see the larger value behind it.
Yeah, I agree. And like sometimes those administrative pieces that we have to do, like booking or whatever, they can just seem so mundane. And you're like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do this. But you're right. When you really link it to whatever that bigger picture is, it means so much and it's so much purpose behind it and it gives joy in your example, right? I used to make sure everybody, even like on, every level of the organization, even those out in sales who were not, at home with us, so to speak, in the office, link them to the vision what does their job mean to helping us get to the vision? Because I think it's so, so important. And then everybody feels the purpose and the ownership, right? Of let's get this out for the customers, right? You're, is that what you're alluding to that? Yeah.
Absolutely. So yes, when it comes to mundane tasks, in reality, not every task is mundane because it does serve a
Mhm.
larger purpose.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that. Let's talk about when there's a disconnect then, because that can happen too, right? Like, it could be either our purpose doesn't align or somebody on our team isn't aligning. Let's talk a little bit about what happens when there's a disconnect like that.
Absolutely. So let's say, for an example, let's say a business, they're just solely focused on that profit piece,
Hmm.
and they'll do whatever it takes, take shortcuts, cut corners. Let's say a team member, this team member's value is to uh, make the world a better place.
Hmm.
And let's say this company is promoting pollution, it's not treating customers well. There's that disconnect. This team member will feel overwhelmed because this company is not really aligned to what this team member is looking for. And
Hmm.
if that builds over time, that's going to add to more stress and overwhelm, and then eventually that
Hmm.
burnout. That's that disconnect, that misalignment, where the company and the team member, they're not on the same page. Now,
Yeah.
if we flip the script, let's say the team member, same vision, same values, really wants to work for a company that makes a difference. This company, company B, we'll call it in this sense, company
Hmm.
B, in contrast to company B, they're really treating customers, clients well, their employees well. They're teaming up with nonprofits to for collaboration projects. Very visionary, very forward thinking, making a difference in the world. This is really going to inspire the team member. They'll feel a greater sense of joy, that greater sense of happiness because that alignment is there. So
Hmm.
there is a difference between how company A functions and how company B functions, and that alignment with that team member.
Yeah, which brings me to another question point that I have too, because when we look at company A, pollution focused, right? Company B, very people focused, we'll call it. There is going to be a difference in success for those companies because of having, a positive, we'll call it, company B leadership purpose or vision, and compared to company A. So, what is that success link?
Absolutely. So let's say with company A, they're cutting corners, people are noticing it. That can
Hmm.
lead to lower retention within employees, that can lead to higher turnover, and these will cost the company. Many employees
Yes.
can take sick days. That's just going to contribute to the cost. In contrast to company B, where they're more engaged. They're showing up to work. They're taking less sick days. I mean, they'll take days off when they need to, but they're a lot more engaged than company A. Retention is higher, turnover is lower. There's a lot of savings just involved. So, with company A and company B, there is a measurable difference between revenue, cost, and essentially profit. Because with company B, people are doing whatever it takes. They're going above and beyond to help that organization win.
Yeah, I love that too. And I agree with you because we know the cost of turnover or illness or, people taking, it's so expensive. And I don't think a lot of companies really understand. We're talking tens of thousands and depending on if they're higher up, it's even more. I mean, it's so expensive. And you're right. I love the word engaged. When people are engaged, they're also talking positively about a company. They're talking about that leader and they're talking about that vision, which is just free public relations and advertising, isn't it?
That's right. And since you brought up that public relations piece, with that company B, since employees are saying great things about it, it's doing two things. One, it's drawing customers in because they're just
Mhm.
seeing the great things they're doing, and it's drawing greater talent as far as the talent pool for candidates who are applying for
Yeah.
uh, the organization, and they're likely pulling people that perform at a higher level. So if they do get hired, they're just bringing this higher level of performance that's going to lift the company to new heights.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. let me go in. Let's say I'm a new leader in a company, or maybe I'm a new leader, period. What challenges am I going to face if I'm trying to lead with a purpose or a vision that maybe this isn't common for them, right? Maybe this isn't normal for them, either, like I said, a new leader in the company or new to leadership or, that type of thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So two things. I would say the first part is learning curve. Leadership uh, is not as simple as easy as people make it to be. Not to
Mm-hmm.
say that it's difficult overall. It's rewarding
Mm-hmm.
when done right. But
Yeah.
when it comes to learning curve, managing people, organizing tasks, uh, keeping track of all the moving pieces, getting from point A to point B. Uh, Very important for this new leader to understand how to navigate this whole new environment. But again, when this new leader has a grasp of it, and this leader will have a grasp of it, it just takes time. Again,
Mm-hmm.
that reward is there. The second challenge is urgency. I mean, there are so many tasks, so many priorities, so many things
Yeah.
that need our attention. And to find what needs to be done at the right place at the right time, again, I would say to this new leader, focus on the vision, the purpose. That way, you have a better sense of seeing where that end result looks like, the overall objective, the overall mission, instead of getting distracted by anything that falls into your plate, anything on your to do list. Very tempting to just accomplish all of it at the same
Yeah.
time. Prioritize it based on the big picture of everything. So I would say when it comes to leadership, one, understanding that there is a learning curve, however, very rewarding. And then two,
Mm-hmm.
not getting distracted by every shiny object that falls into your lap, but to really
Yeah.
focus into the big picture and big vision into accomplishing something great.
And it kind of almost goes back to that whole slow down and learn and grow. And you had mentioned growth at the beginning, and I want to circle back to that because as leaders, we're never perfect. We're always growing. And whether that be through listening to this podcast, reading a book, doing, your education, whatever those things are, when we move into new organizations or into leadership, there's so much growth that has to happen. And you're right, if we just start jumping, it's not going to work, is it? Like that, you won't be able to focus on that vision or those values that mean something.
That's right. Two
Yeah.
things I want to say about that. When
Yeah.
it comes to growth, even for the leaders who believe or are convinced they're at a very high level, uh, there's still room for even more growth improvement.
Hmm.
And the second thing I want to share is research from Carol Dweck, and she was the researcher who came up with the concept of fixed mindset and growth mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Fixed mindset it's that idea that there's not much change that's available. We are who we are, period. On the other hand, with that growth mindset, regardless of the challenges and obstacles that can get in our way, ways to overcome, there are ways to keep growing, there are ways to keep pushing forward. And she mentioned in her research that people with a growth mindset, they'll really experience a lot more success with the work they're doing.
Because we always can improve, and that's the whole idea, right? Is making sure we can always improve. And if we go to a different organization or different industry, we can still improve because we got to learn just even what that piece is, right?
That's right.
So let me ask you this: if I'm not a leader or I'm not somebody who's doing this yet, maybe I'm a little bit more on the fixed mindset side. How do I pivot? How do I shift? Like, what are the strategies that can help me become more of that purpose driven leader or driving with purpose? If that's just not who I am yet, but I want to be there, what do you
Absolutely.
suggest?
So I've had those conversations with many professionals in the working world, and I would say when it comes to purpose-driven leadership, and I would also remind them about leadership-driven purpose. We are all leaders,
Mhm.
so I would say when it comes to embracing both, understand what gets them up in the day, because again, there are tasks and responsibilities and roles that can feel mundane. And if this person sticks to that idea of embracing mundaneness for a long
Mhm.
period of time, that can lead to this sense of, uh, I would say, not necessarily boring, but not living to their full potential to anything exciting, and reminding them that when they do embrace their why, their vision, their story, that gives them that perspective that leadership really does mean something. It
Mm-hmm.
really does have an impact. It really provides value to what they're doing. So when this person says that they're not in a they're not currently in a position to embrace this idea of purpose, I'd remind them that there is something greater ahead. And when they embrace something to look forward to, that will essentially open them up to this idea of embracing both purpose driven leadership and leadership driven purpose.
And it
So
really
there's
opens our
more.
minds. It opens our minds differently when we think like that, right? It
That's right.
just, you can see the future differently. I want to talk about change for just a second. So if we are, going through a major change, and that can be very difficult for teams, and we're trying to still push that vision, but we're going through something major. Maybe it is a takeover, maybe it's a layoff, something like that. How can we still lead like this and keep, I don't want to say positivity might not be the right word, but how do we keep people moving forward and not feeling like, oh, this is just taking us over and we're just going to do the mundane and I'm just going to 9 to 5 it. You know what I mean?
Yes. So change, when it comes to change, change is scary for many people. Change is scary, but I would remind people that the 6 most dangerous words in any business culture, any company culture is "we've always done it that way."
It is dangerous to say that. I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
And when a business or organization embraces this type of mindset or philosophy, that won't lead to anything meaningful or significant. However, when we remind people the value that change can lead to progress, that's where they'll see that something something meaningful can happen out of it. So regardless of the change, if they're sticking to the same path, that same uh, strategy of doing the same thing each and every day, that's not going to be exciting over the long run. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when they realize that what they're going to do next, that next chapter of whatever project or next stage of the business or the company, uh, that leads to something meaningful and significant, that's really going to really change their perspective on what's about to come. So yes, on the one hand, change can be scary, but on the other hand, if if a team or group or company does not embrace change and they stay the same forever, that's really not going to lead to any progress.
No, I agree. And that sometimes closes doors when you don't embrace change. Absolutely. I
That's
want
right.
to give you I want to give you a couple minutes to sum up any key points that we may have missed today as we sum up our conversation. So, key points, key takeaways, something we didn't talk about yet. What would you like to say?
Absolutely. So, for key takeaways, I would encourage everyone to embrace both the concepts of purpose driven leadership and leadership driven purpose. When it comes to being a purpose driven leader, uh, take time to clarify the why, the purpose, the big vision, something that really inspires you to get up every day and really accomplish great things. And the second concept is leadership driven purpose, where when we look at our why, leadership is part of it, embracing our vision, mission, and story, and sharing it with other people. Because when we embrace both purpose driven leadership and leadership driven purpose, it really gives an opportunity for us to really maximize our value in leadership and help others in their journey of personal and professional growth as well.
And I love that you have the both sides there. I mean, in my business and I have my vision and I have my mission and I look at it annually, but I do one for my personal side as well because it helps me with knowing where I'm going next. So I love that you mentioned both of those. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So let's say our audience wanted to connect with you somehow. Is there a website, LinkedIn, or something that you would like to share with them today?
Absolutely. You can find me on my website, familyconsulting.com, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. Search for Jessper Maquindang. I absolutely enjoy conversations about leadership development, team building, culture, personal growth, professional development. feel free to reach out. Happy to connect.
Awesome. And to spell your last name, it's Maquindang, in case anybody's trying to find you. Awesome. Thank you so much for a great conversation today. Love that both sides of this. It was great tips too. Thank you, Jessper.
Thank you so much, Tara. Really enjoyed our conversation today.
Thank you, of course, to our listeners for joining us today. We hope our conversation with Jessper offered something meaningful to you. Maybe it was an insight, a shift in perspective, or a tip you can put into action right away. If this episode resonated with you, leaving us a great rating truly helps us and our guests like Jessper reach even more leaders who are navigating the same challenges and opportunities that you are. And remember, you never have to lead alone. Our new Amplifying Leadership Circle community was created so leaders can grow, connect, and support one another. You can learn more about the community, coaching, and all of our leadership services at amplifyingleadership.ca. Remember, leadership matters.